You know, I feel a connection between us.
I'm Zoe Delandelight, and multiclassing in Baldur's Gate 3 is some Frankenstein-level fun, when you know what you're doing. I mean, I know it's fun even if you're just along for the ride, but there's such a satisfaction in creating a character that's the spawn of your favourite classes to create one almighty monster. This video is a beginner's guide to multiclassing, so I'm going to be explaining the trade-offs you get for specific classes. If you're looking for a much more advanced multiclassing video, I have one of those too that goes into specific builds and more complicated things to bear in mind when multiclassing spellcasters. Anyway, I have a lot to get through, so let's get into it.
Harpers! To arms!
First, you have to know that multiclassing is when you choose not to take a level in your main class, and instead choose to take one in another class. For example, a character at level 2 might be a level 1 fighter and a level 1 cleric. This is always a trade-off because you're sacrificing a higher level in your main class for a lower one in an alternate class. However, doing so comes with benefits, hence multiclassing being a big part of Baldur's Gate 3 and Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Multiclassing has the risk of you losing the opportunity to gain a feat or an ability score increase at 4th level or 6th/10th depending on your class. These are really important for higher level characters, so always weigh up the cost of putting a level into another class if it means foregoing an ability score increase or a feat. All classes get an ability score increase at levels 4, 8 and 12.
What's inside?
One of the things you don't get from your second class is any starting proficiencies it would have come with, like a buff to saving throws, as those don't stack. But if your second class has a subclass, which should be unlocked by level 3, you'll get the proficiencies attached to that subclass. So if you multiclass into a Paladin or fighter, you don't get their heavy armor proficiency. If you wanted a spell sword build, you'd therefore have to have a martial class as your main class and then multiclass into a spellcaster. Another thing you don't get is stacked extra attacks, unarmored defense and channel divinity. So although a 5th level Paladin and a 5th level Barbarian both get an extra attack when they attack normally, if you have 5 levels in Paladin and 5 levels in Barbarian, you don't get 2 extra attacks for a total of 3 attacks. Same goes for the Monk and Barbarian unarmored defense feature, these do not stack. Broadly speaking, classes get a lot more powerful at 5th level, so I'd advise you to wait until you get to 5th level and then multiclass. And finally, make sure when you're multiclassing spellcasters that you keep your main casting ability in mind. Blending a sorcerer with a druid will punish you, as sorcerers use charisma to cast and druids use wisdom. However, there is a way around it. Focus on wisdom, take any druid spells you want, but make sure you only pick sorcerer spells that don't require dice rolls to hit or save. Same goes for those of you using charisma as your main casting skill. Just be careful about the druid spells that you choose.
Gods damn it!
Barbarians don't lose too much from foregoing 1 to 3 levels. You'll lose the level 11 Relentless Rage, which is powerful but should be fine. I wouldn't go any lower than level 9 trade-off with a Barbarian, as that would mean you'd lose 2 damage bonuses on critical damage and rage damage. Multiclassing into a Barbarian is pretty damn good. From levels 1 to 3 it really pays off. Rage at level 1 is a great feature which halves physical damage with a damage bonus and is perfect for classes like Paladin and Fighter. On the spellcaster side, you can't cast or concentrate on spells while raging, so I wouldn't blend Barbarian with spellcasters for that reason. Barbarian level 2 gives Reckless Attack, which is free advantage on all attacks, pretty sweet. Then Barbarian level 3 increases your rage bonus and introduces subclasses that have their own merit.
I don't think I've ever felt more powerful.
I personally would not recommend going below 10 with Bard as your main class. At level 10, Bards get a D10 inspiration die instead of a D8, 2 more expertise skills for a total of 4, and 2 more spells from any spell list for a total of 14. One level of Bard will get you access to the Bardic Inspiration bonus action, adding a d6 onto rolls if used. If your main class already has high charisma, this is still very good, as it increases the amount of times you can use it as a bonus action each day. Jack of all trades comes in at Bard level 2, which is linked to your proficiency bonus, which in turn is linked to your character level, so it's pretty good. Remember, your character level will still be level 4, even if you have 2 levels in 2 different classes. Song of Rest at level 2 is decent too, as it gives you additional healing abilities, which I would never turn my nose up at. Then, at 3rd level, Bard grants its subclass and expertise in 2 skills, which is also not bad. Like with other casters, foregoing more than 1 level for Cleric loses you access to 6th level spells. Cleric is a great option for a single level multiclassing, as they get their subclass at level 1 and a subclass feature at level 2. These subclasses include things like bonus action weapon attacks, heavy armour and martial weapons. Cleric cantrips are fine at level 1, with Bless being the best thing in my opinion, but I'd stick with that 1 level as a Cleric, as level 2 just kinda isn't worth it to me. Just like the Cleric, with the Druid, if you forego more than 1 to 3 levels, you'll miss out on 6th and 5th level spells, and at level 10, Druids get a subclass feature, so just bear that in mind. Multiclassing into a Druid is pretty good. You'll get access to some healing spells and cantrips, and at level 2 there's subclass and Wild Shape. Wild Shape depends exclusively on the Druid level, so it won't be super powerful, but as a sucker for Wild Shape, I still think it's handy.
Greetings.
Fighter is one of those classes where losing 2 levels is inadvisable. At level 11 you get 2 extra attacks, and at level 10 you get a subclass feature, so I wouldn't go any lesser than level 10. Multiclassing into Fighter, again, is a great option, as at level 2 you get an action surge, and at level 3 you unlock subclasses. Foregoing more than 1 level as a monk is risky. At level 11 they get a subclass feature and their martial arts die upgrades for a d6 to a d8. After doing some of my own research, Monk is one of those classes where it kinda looks like it's best to mainline it and not multiclass, to be frank. That's because multiclassing into a monk is ill-advised, as their key abilities depend on your level of key points, and at low levels you really can't do that much. Monk level 3 unlocks subclasses, sure, but they need key points to make the most out of their bonuses, so monk and multiclassing is not your best bet.
Good of you to notice.
Paladins are a half-caster that use charisma to cast, so it's quite easy to multiclass Paladin with other charisma casters like sorcerers. Half-caster basically means that half of the class is about casting spells and half is about dealing melee damage. Really vaguely speaking, it's much more complicated than that in real life. With Paladins, I think you're good spending 2 levels on another class, retaining level 9 Paladin, as that'll grant you access to 3rd level powerful spells. Multiclassing Paladins works well, as Baldur's Gate 3 has made Paladins pick their oath at level 1 versus the normal level 3, so you get more out of it. Paladin level 2 is what you should be aiming for, as it gives you access to Divine Smite, 1st level spells, and a fighting style. Fighting style is exactly what it sounds like. You pick a style of fighting that grants you bonuses. A couple of examples include archery, which grants you a +2 bonus to attack rolls you make with ranged weapons, and protection, which, as long as you're wielding a shield, means when a creature you can see attacks a target other than you, that is within 5 feet of you, like an ally, you can use your reaction to give it disadvantage on the attack roll. Ranger level 11 gets you a subclass feature, so it's hard to justify losing that. Ranger level 9 offers 3rd level spells too, also harder to give up, but might be worth it to you. I recommend putting 2 levels into Ranger if you're multiclassing. Level 1 grants Favoured Enemy and Natural Explorer, while Level 2 offers the previously mentioned Fighting Style and Spellcasting. Favoured Enemy lets you choose a feature that will have an effect against an enemy of your choice, otherwise known as your Favoured Enemy. There are 5 options to choose from, which I won't go into detail about here, but you can find them easily. Natural Explorer grants you the choice of resistance to specific elements, an extra spell, or an extra proficiency. All decent.
Oh, for a skeleton king.
Rogues are special in that at level 10 they get an ability score increase, so I wouldn't forego any more than 2 levels. At level 11 rogues get more sneak attack damage and reliable talent, which means any natural 1 you roll gets turned into a 23. Level 9 rogue includes a subclass feature and a sneak attack damage increase. Like other classes, multiclassing into rogue is really useful and definitely one to consider. At level 1, rogues get expertise in 2 skills and sneak attack. Level 2 gets cunning action, which lets you use your bonus action to dash or disengage. Disengage prevents opportunity attacks, which is so useful, especially as a rogue where you want to be sneaking and kind of staying in the shadows as much as you can. Rogue level 3 offers a subclass, which can give you another bonus action to play with, depending on which subclass you pick. Sorcerers are a good option for multiclassing, as at level 1 you get access to their subclasses. Sorcerer level 2 gets you access to metamagic and allows you to convert your sorcery points to spell slots and vice versa. Sorcerer level 3 means you get a third metamagic option. Sorcerers are a good call for multiclassing overall, as their metamagic is powerful and you can use any spell slots you've unlocked via other classes to power your metamagic. Level 11 Warlocks get Mystic Arcanum, which lets them cast a 6th level spell once per day, and an extra spell slot. Warlock level 10 grants a subclass feature, and Warlock level 9 upgrades their spell slots to 5th level, but if you combine Warlock with another class that uses Charisma to cast, then you should be fine, losing a couple of levels. Warlocks, like Sorcerers, make for a good multiclass option. At level 1 they get their subclass and Eldritch Bolt, level 2 gets Invocations and a 2nd spell slot, then level 3 grants the Warlock Pact and 2nd level spell slots. The most important thing here is that Warlock level 2 lets your Eldritch Bolts add your Charisma modifier to their damage, meaning any Charisma based fighter like Paladin or Bard can do decent ranged damage. Pact of the Blade isn't yet in Baldur's Gate 3, but if it ever gets included, then know that Warlock level 3's Pact of the Blade lets you use Charisma on weapon attack rolls, which is even better for Charisma fighters. And as cantrip power scales with your character level, not your class level, getting 1 level of Warlock if you're level 12 means your Eldritch Blast can deal 3d10 damage. Ouch.
Push my luck again.
Like you've heard me say a million times by now, if you forego 1 level in Wizard, you'll lose access to 6th level spells. Similarly, Wizard level 10 gets you a subclass feature, so just bear that in mind. Wizards aren't amazing for multiclassing. Wizard spells don't get you any healing, which is usually why you'd pick a caster as your multiclass. Wizard level 2 gives their subclass options, and Wizard level 3 offers 2nd level spells. It just really depends on whether any of their spells tickle your fancy. And there you have it, that's a broad beginner's guide to multiclassing. If you have any other tips you think people who are going to multiclass will need, let me know in the comments below. And if you've got this far, thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe to Eurogamer, as we have a new video out almost every single day. Now, I'm going to go and try and get some cool spells for my new character in Baldur's Gate 3 because I am very indecisive, so I'll see you good folk next time.